meeting of the Harwich Planning Board for Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. My name is Duncan Berry. I'm the chair of the planning board here. We have a Mass General Law that requires me to ask if anybody intends to record the meeting to please so indicate it. Okay. So it's 6:32. I declare the meeting open. I'd invite you all to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We start tonight with a administratively continued public hearing that was supposed to take place on February 24th, which I think we all kind of remember what happened then. It's the final draft of the 2025 Local Comprehensive Plan pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81D, and as defined in Section 9 of the Cape Cod Commission Act, Chapter 716 of the Act of 1989. The Harwich Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, February 24th, beginning no earlier than 6:30 p.m. in the Griffin Room, Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass. 02645. Public is welcome to attend in person or remote participation is available. Please see the posted agenda for dial-in information. Purpose of the public hearing is to support the final draft 2025 Local Comprehensive Plan dated December 23, 2025 in preparation for the annual town meeting in May 2026. The Planning Board invites the public to provide public comments regarding the final draft Local Comprehensive Plan. Final draft Local Comprehensive Plan dated December 23, 2025 can be found on the Local Planning Committee's webpage, and I'm not going to read the link out because I don't have it. The public hearing for the proposed zoning amendments has canceled originally and was rescheduled for this evening. So why don't we start? I can see that we've got Joyce here. Was there, yes, please.
We have members of the local planning committee here to do a presentation
Right.
tonight.
Was there anybody else from online from the committee, or is it just?
Jerry, I think, will
Joyce.
introduce the members.
Joyce
Okay.
is online.
Joyce
Yeah, I
is
see
on.
Joyce. Yeah, okay, David, okay, yeah.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Board. My name is Mary Jones, and I am a member of the Local Planning Committee. I'm here to provide a brief overview of the final draft of the Local Comprehensive Plan as was stated in preparation for town meeting. Oh, I've got to use this guy, and I've got to use my glasses too.
It works, yay.
I have to say that during this time here, we'll touch on the development approach, outcomes, and what the plan offers moving forward. I have to say that this project was a collaborative endeavor. As far as the development, it began with the members of the local planning committee who each brought their own expertise in town and municipal governance, business, technology, leadership, historical, cultural, and community knowledge. From here, I'd like to just briefly read the names of the members of the committee, starting with Joyce McIntyre, our chair, and she's online virtually. We have Garrett Curran, our vice chair, Margot Fenn, Peter Gorey, and Jim Nickman, who provided their input early on in the process. Yours truly. Ed McManus, Barbara Nickerson, who is here in the back, Brian Sheld, David Spitz, and Bernadette Waystack, with Jeff Handler being the select board liaison. We also had continuous support and guidance from Christine Flynn, our town planner, as well as the consultants Tig and Bond, who were retained for their knowledge of plan format and structure and certification requirements. The collaboration extended beyond just those main contributors, and we, the committee, would like to thank the select board, the planning board, and town staff, and most especially the Harwich residents for without their input, without their participation in this plan, the level of valuable information contained within the plan could not have been achieved. It was a favorable response to the committee's task in developing a plan that truly represents your vision, your voice, your Harwich. As you know, the plan took about 3 years in the making. It required an extensive effort in 4 main areas, first beginning with a lot of data collection, information gathering, and that came from community surveys, workshops, public outreach events, trend reports such as for traffic or population statistics. The next phase is analysis and then content organization with all along continuous community awareness with updates posted on the local planning committee's webpage, social media, printed flyers posted in various high traffic areas around the town, as well as these public meetings. All came together to create an approachable and usable town resource to help guide decisions for Harwich's future. As far as the data gathering, this is an example of one of the visioning workshops that the residents attended. Under the guidance of the consultants, Tig and Bond, the residents participated in providing comments, suggestions, input on these 4 themed areas: land use and growth, housing, environmental resource protection, community, facilities, and infrastructure. Additional data was collected from 2 supporting plans which are integrated within the local comprehensive plan. The housing production plan, which was approved
In July by
I'm
the
sorry?
state. Back in June, I believe.
In June,
by
yes.
the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities.
and the open space and recreation plan, which I believe is still in process.
Yes, we
Yes.
have conditional approval, and we have just some minor additional information that we need to send to the Division of Conservation Services for their approval.
These plans, especially the housing production plan, are data-driven, containing a wealth of information, goals, inventory, analysis of needs, strategies, and actions. As the information started coming in, the committee was able to pull from the public feedback to craft a vision statement representative of whole community perspectives. And if I may just read the vision statement. In 2050, Harwich is a vibrant and sustainable community that honors its natural beauty, historic charm, and village character while meeting the needs of our residents for attainable housing to support economic and community growth. Our commitment to this vision is deeply rooted in the protection of water and natural resources, recognizing their intrinsic value to our community. The plan also includes a growth policy, which was an additional requirement, and it actually does, it's a policy that functions in unison with the Harwich vision statement. As the information gathered also disclosed that there were about a handful of challenges facing the town, which I'm sure most are aware of, they've heard. Just to name a few: lack of available land, existing zoning, housing affordability, and maintaining village character. Now, for those of you that have ventured into the plant, you can see that it is populated with just about every piece of information gathered. I believe there's at least 200 pages within the plan itself, and that can be a little daunting for some. With that in mind, the focus was on the actual use of the plan as a viable resource, with content design and organization centered on ease of information access. One aspect of this is that the plan is in a digital format, so many topics are searchable online. And the second is organization of the actual plan itself in an easily digestible structure. As we see here, as far as the organization, we begin with categories of natural, built, and community systems, which house within each of those categories topics relevant to each system. There is also an executive summary, which provides us an overview or synopsis about plan outcomes. An example of which was the previous slide offering the key challenges of the plan itself that it was disclosed. The executive summary is brought to you right up front on page 4. But should you have any questions about the summary outcomes, it would be to your benefit to visit the detailed information within your area of interest. I did a little bit of the math, and because we have had feedback regarding the volume of information contained, for all of the categories up here, the detailed information cumulatively is on about less than 100 pages. And if I did the math correctly, if we look at all this, we're talking about 6 to 7 pages per topic. And with the graphics and the structure, paragraph structure, it's a relatively easy read for any type of topic that you're interested in. Here is an example. We're going to start with community design. And within community design, we have laid out in front of us the goals, objectives, and the actions related to community design. Now, prior to this page, you may be able to read as far as any of the details of history or current trends, conditions, and challenges. If I may, I'm just going to go ahead and read the goal for community design, which is to protect and enhance the unique character of Harwich's built and natural environment based on village context. As we move over the actions themselves, there's several of them, some of them specific to certain villages, and then the largest one, the general actions applicable to all of the villages themselves. Now, the actions or the steps to advance toward the community vision. It's the crux of the plan itself. It's the outcome of the extensive research over the past 3 years. A considerable amount of time and effort was devoted to the action section by the committee members and plan contributors. The actions were written and deliberated with careful consideration for whole community benefits. I have to say there was lively discussion regarding the prioritization of the actions. We have to thank our member Brian Schell for introducing a rating system to prioritize, a method to be able to do that based on feasibility and impact for being the highest value score. And conversely, one suggesting maybe it could be just backburnered a little bit as far as the action itself. In addition to the prioritization, the actions were identified with government agencies or departments as lead for implementation purposes. As far as the first action, it's specific to Harwich Port and Harwich Center towards the middle, the first one in green. The leads are our Planning, Historic District and Historical Commission, and the Cape Cod Commission. As you see there, it was rated impact and feasibility both as 3s, meaning the feasibility or the resources, we may have the resources to move forward with it, and the impact, it would be recognizable. So the suggestion or the recommendation would be to have it done sooner rather than later. Furthering implementation and the action implementation, I have to read directly from the plan itself. One recurring aspect of the community response was the request for a sustainable mechanism that addresses transparency of LCP implementation over time. The committee thought it to be very important to integrate a strategy for accomplishing this. I think this it really distinguishes this plan from former plans. There, as far as being able to have a strategy that is sustainable, and also it opens the communication, a bi-directional communication between the town itself, town management, administration, and the community itself. As far as it does mention that the planning board, in its visible relationship with both select board and community, is in a key position to be able to track and report the responsibilities of the action itself. However, as far as it is always the select board, that the use of the plan itself is under the select board's discretion and direction, with the town administrator implementing a lot of the operational aspects of it. We do invite those that have not taken a look at the plan to familiarize yourself with it prior to town meeting. As mentioned before, it is located on the Local Comprehensive Plan webpage on the Harwich website. On the left-hand side, you'll see the direct links to the final draft. And on the right-hand side, you're more than welcome to review the multiple drafts that it took up to the final one. We also have, I noticed, another information session about the plan at the local planning committee's next meeting, April 7th, between 5 and 7. Community approach, that's really what it took to create and develop and present this plan for the Harwich community. Your vision, your voice, your Harwich captures the spirit of community guiding the development of the local comprehensive plan. It represents honoring our past, acknowledging today, and building our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. I think you probably have some comments regarding what we're doing here tonight, and would love to hear about the motions and the editorial
Sure.
matters, if we could, before we get into the board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank Mary as well as the local planning committee members who are here, but the local planning committee members who are not here. This has been a tremendous work and effort on their part on behalf of the town, so I want to thank them publicly, and this has been and will continue to be a tremendous document that will help serve the town for land use and growth development policies, and in the future for the town of Harwich, particularly for our natural resource protection, housing, and economic development. In terms of tonight's process, I will ask the board if they could take a vote to adopt the local comprehensive plan with the proviso that Ty and Bond is finalizing some minor edits that the planning committee did review, and to allow them the ability to make those corrections, and to update some of the photos that the committee had asked of the consulting team. And the second motion is to vote to recommend that the town of Harwich adopt the local comprehensive plan at the annual town meeting in May 2026.
Great. Opening it up to the board. Please.
You guys did such amazing work. And I have read multiple drafts, and then I went through the newest draft. And it's tighter and organized and usable and searchable and aspirational. And you gave the planning board a lot to do in this, which is okay.
Yes.
But it's very, very clear. And I know that didn't happen just overnight, and 3 years is a long time to serve as a volunteer on what might have been a long process. But it was well worth it, and
Yes.
thank everybody for your time. It looks spectacular.
Thank you.
And much different from where I think it started as almost something that was a have-to. You know, we have to do it for the state, and we have to do it for these other things. I think you went way beyond that and made it a much better document.
And it was representative of each member and how they felt moving forward in developing this plan.
It was a lot of work, yes, a lot
Yes.
of work. So thank you for all that work.
Thank you.
Yeah, as someone who's been involved in many long-term planning processes, I really understand what you went through, and it's a terrific document. I think it's a living document, which is really critical.
Yes, yes. As far as any of the actions and the implementation, it's hard to predict what's going to happen in 10 years, 5 years, 1 year. But being able to have a living document, as you will, that can adjust the actions for whatever the current conditions are, and then have that strategy of communicating that back to the community, I think that well serves everyone here.
I think so too.
What I was going to say, thank you so much. What I was going to say was kind of in line with what you just added. I think what Mary and Ann said were fantastic, but I really appreciate the focus on prioritization and action and implementation and accountability and all of those pieces. It's a wonderful, rich, really important document, but it's only as good as the work that goes into making all of these things happen. So again, really, really appreciate that focus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to echo my fellow board members' sentiments of appreciation. And particularly, I wanted to call out, I thought, the opening salvo of collecting community response, getting verbatims from people in the community, using the language of the community to integrate and suffuse the arguments in the text itself. This is a stroke of genius. I thought it was great. And I also think it is, it's hard to believe that the last certified document that we have is 25 years old, 26 years old. So this is long overdue, and it's really great to have something in place like this, or almost have it in place. I do have a couple questions. So first of all, and I want to thank Joyce, by the way. Hi, Joyce. Glad to have you here. I want to thank you personally for coming to us at the beginning, for taking time to meet with us on a one-on-one and as a group. I felt like the loop was always kind of closed off where it should have been in the best way, sealed, connected. And I really appreciate your leadership on that, and you're working with the planning board, because I can see that we're the people that have to pick it up now and make use of it.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for your committee's engagement and ongoing willingness to participate with us. And thank you, Mary, for just a spectacular presentation. You nailed it tonight, and it's really representative. at every single time, because it's been it's been how it's supposed to be, and the document has been used and discussed because of the time, and at every single time the baton has been handed to our, a various committee member who's just gone above and beyond and showed an exceptional amount of leadership to keep us moving forward. So I'm really appreciative of every single one of them. Thank you.
That's great. I did have a couple of questions, or just express some issues. I think there's one of the things that concerns me is the description of it as a living document. The question is, does that mean there are going to be changes introduced periodically, or is this going to be a fixed, kind of like a navigational pole star from which we continually resonate? And then at the next iteration, we adjust the next time and kind of triangulate as we move along.
And that is the nature of it, is that it integrates flexibility because we are going up against unknown conditions in the future. And so we have to make that, it allows for that flexibility to adjust as needed, and then.
So what are the kind of adjustments that would you foresee?
I would have said actually the second, to Mary and I could answer together. This is sort of the second part of what you were saying, Duncan, is that the values are there, right? And I said this is select board too in January. The community was clear, the values are clear. How we interpret that and act on it is the challenge, which I can then hand it over to Mary. And as we've seen the document discussed in the last few months and referenced and things like that, for sure there can be different opinions about the data that's there, as well as the community sentiment that is, quoted verbatim. Sorry to interrupt you, Mary. Go ahead.
Not at all.
That's okay. Was that okay?
Did you have anything to add to that?
No, that was,
So
As long as your
the
question was
answer is
answered.
that we're going to have, that this will be edited. So my question is, if we edit a
point in time?
document that gets, kind of, we agree on, and then it changes, it seems to me that that's going to be, to me, the idea of a living document is that we're going to use it as we go forward, because, again, as you said, it was like a directional thing. So directional is important. Then, the next level down is the interpretation of the direction, these KPIs, key performance indicators, and then there's the regulatory kind of thing. So when you get down to the, square footage, setbacks, that kind of stuff, that actually belongs at like the ZBA, where they have very little wiggle room. There's a lot of accordion space there. And if we're adjusting at one point at the top, I just have a concern that we're going to be changing the goalposts where the law might, or the code might lag. I just want to,
Yes.
just putting it out there.
And-
I don't know. It seemed to me an uncertainty.
the prioritizations were actually deliberated on current conditions, resources or impact. That really is going to change realistically.
Right.
Moving forward. So there would be the necessity, as in the flexibility, to reprioritize based on current conditions, whatever happened. Maybe the feasibility gets less for whatever conditions there are. So that's the rewrite,
Right.
if you will, just the reprioritization. And then moving forward to do that, not as far as, editing the entire plan, but just with that focus.
And I was just going to echo what Mary said. This is a guidance document, and so priorities may change over time.
Right.
And, depending on state policies, building codes or regulatory changes. But it's not anticipated that we're going to be going back and making edits of the document. I think those
Okay.
changes will be at the discretion of the boards that are
That's exactly what
charged
I
to
was-
be the
yeah.
Okay.
partners or the stakeholders for implementation.
So like in a 2x2, where you have, the kind of the,
Yes.
where we want to gravitate in the ranking of priorities. I can see those rankings, for instance, changing, going from a
Yes.
2 to a 3, or a 3 to a 1, or a 1 to a 4 kind of a thing, but not like going in and using that kind of tracking system as a way of keeping it living, instead of to me, a living document is, oh, well, we will amend,
No,
okay, all right.
exactly what you had said,
Okay,
yes.
All right. So, so are the KPIs, as I understand it, for us to track, essentially the components of the village by village ranking that you have in that slide that had the kind
Yes,
of,
that had the,
kind of
like the
the
rank.
striation, the stratified, okay.
yes. Each one of those, and again, it really as a guidance document, it's a
Right.
reference, it's a resource. I have to say that at the presentation at the select board, there was some positive response from the select board on its use
Yep.
for decision-making. And as far as the KPIs and the ranking, that's what, as we had mentioned, makes it a livable document, and being able to implement those areas, again, under the direction of the select board, town administrator, and how operationally it would be integrated in.
Right.
So Duncan, just
But I
for
don't-
clarification, there's almost a dashboard component of it, right? How are we doing against these goals?
Yeah.
And if I read it correctly, that's the planning board to own, the planning department. How are we doing against these goals?
That might be actually kind of an interesting thing to do as an AI app for us to have available, not, and probably these days, something that can be built in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. That
You
would
know,
be really interesting.
Yeah, so anyway, just as a hypothetical, let's see how that goes as we track it along and see if there are tracking mechanisms that'll have a good feedback capacity with the town, so.
Yes, and your position, your key as far as really understanding the actions and relaying that information back to the community.
Yeah.
Great. So, any comments from the public? I see we have a few, please. Please state your name for the record, name and address. Or do you want me to do that for you?
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Sutphin?
Chair. I'm capable of doing it. Thank you. Matt Sutphin, Harwich Center. Thank you. Thanks to you and your board members for giving me a few minutes to speak on the plan. I don't want to in any way be misunderstood or denigrating the plan. I am glad for the plan. My frustration with the plan is, if I can exhibit two examples. One was being at the Cape Cod Commission on January 5th, where the petitioner for Snow Inn stood up before the commission and stated that there's no difference between the 2000 plan and the pending to be certified 2026 plan. And he, I think in the same breath, mentioned the Chamber of Commerce endorsement. So that was my first voyage into this, being here. The second one's last night. I was happy to see, but I understand, maybe I can stand to be corrected, but that Chairman Howell was penned the 2000 plan and announced to those listening at the select board meeting last night that there have been significant changes. So, you have to excuse me for a minute, but here I am over here with the Cape Cod Commission, and here I am over here with Chairman Howell. So, we get to town meeting. It will be, it'll be an act of faith. I don't believe all the voters will be educated significantly. They'll look at, thank you for the data you collected. Thank you for the four squares to kind of organize the data. They'll see that. But I suspect it would be more advantageous if there were some indication of that was then and this is now. In other words, some kind of a line. It's not there. Doesn't need to be there for those who are, very interested in policy and the way the town wants to go forward. But I don't think that's John Q. Voter. He'll get a thumbnail that night or the day before, but he won't be able to articulate all what I've come to understand the jargon being the granular aspects of this plan. And I'm standing here hoping that in the next month and a half or so, this board, adopting it, will, for the sake of the voter, try to develop some kind of a, put it this way, when we were at school, we didn't read the book, we needed the Cliff Notes. So here we are, developing some Cliff Notes that will give the voters a reason to have more than an act of faith in voting positively for this. They need to know that when they left the harbor, that they're going in the direction they want to go in. And I do not believe they can assimilate this information well enough the way it's presented, not being critical of the fact that it's been presented. I don't think they can assimilate it well enough to make an informed decision. It's, as I say, it's an act of faith. So that's where I stand. Some clarity, some notes, some this was then, and this is where we want to go. Because then you can rally around the thought of how to participate in the plan going forward. There are several different things, different aspects to town management and interest, and we all find ourselves focusing one way or another. But if we can't grasp the document, we don't know how to focus. So I ask for that consideration going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutphen. Anybody else wish to address? Board? Lucy? Bob? No? Okay. Joyce, if you got to hit your microphone off, or on, I should say.
Yeah, I had my hand up. I was trying to, thank you. You know, just as a response to how you were asking Duncan, generally, or we're talking about how to use this before, using this in town. And I think one of the visions too, you're asking about keeping track of things, is we hope that at the very least, when someone joins a committee or is involved in a topic, to build on what Matt is saying, or is volunteering, the document is very searchable, like literally Control F. So if you want to find, we had people visit the committee that broadband internet was very important to them. And so you can search for a topic. So if you're sitting at a committee, during the Historical Commission or during the Waterways Committee, we hope that this is referenced and this is required reading as you're participating in the town. In addition to sort of the tracking we're talking about, but that this gets commonly referenced about, amongst our community and the volunteers.
Great idea. Thank you. Any other questions or remarks? Well, I think we need to vote to close the public hearing, right?
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll move,
Close the public hearing, sorry,
close the public hearing.
The public hearing, yeah, sorry.
excuse me.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So I'd also like to entertain a motion to vote to adopt with the proviso of accepting final minor corrections and picture substitutions, the local comprehensive plan as presented this evening.
Make a motion to accept.
May I have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'd also like to have a vote, I'd like to entertain a vote to recommend to adopt the local comprehensive plan at the annual town meeting.
Make a motion to recommend the local comprehensive plan at the town annual meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Again, unanimous vote. Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. Thank you so much, Joyce. What are you guys going to do with the shock of having a life again after 3.5 years? I understand, was it Brian has now as like a 3-year-old kept running around that wasn't part of the picture,
We're gonna miss each other. We've had fun.
Yeah.
I know you will.
So you guys can have parties, get-togethers, annual reunions. Yeah. Well, thank you all very much. Really appreciate it. Good to see you, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
So moving on, we have a public meeting now, PB 2026-03, approval not required, ANR, for the Town of Harwich's Safe Routes to School, SRTS project on South Street, Main Street, and Sisson Road at the Department of Public Works at 2 Parallel Street, roadway alteration, plan of alteration and easement, South Street, Main Street, and Sisson Ave, Route 39, Route 125, should be 124, I think, dated December 30th, 2025, and prepared by Jeffrey D. Bradford, Land Surveyor License Number 41862. Parcel is located at 2 Parallel Street, owner Lindsay F. Sanders, Assessors Map 40, Parcel D1-3-0 in the Residential Medium Density Zoning District.
Yes,
So-
thank you. I am, in your packet is just an outline of the staff review for the Safe Routes to School project, and literally what the Department of Public Works is asking is to just move a minor property line for the Safe Routes to School project, and this was part of a fee interest taking that had already been the town had already worked with the owner of 2 Parallel Street. So before you tonight is an option to, staff is recommending that this does meet the criteria for an approval not required, and that the board endorse the approval not required as presented on the plan.
Was there a taking involved in this, or was it a purchase?
I believe
Like a
that there.
sale, or purchase and sale?
It was a fee, right?
Just a
was a
fee
fee
transit,
interest,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? So I suggest I don't think we have to close the meeting.
Do we have to go through?
No, it's a
It's not
hearing.
we don't have to close the meeting, but if you can take a vote to
Yeah.
endorse.
So I'd like to entertain a motion to
Approval not
endorse the ANR.
Make a motion to endorse the ANR.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That takes us to PB 2025-37 Ladue Landing Partial Financial Surety Covenant Release that we voted February 10th, 2026. Planning Board member signature required on partial financial surety, which is right here, right?
Yes,
So-
so if you can send one around, if you
One?
can sign one,
No
and
special
send it
pen.
around.
Okay.
No
So-
special pen, and the ANR is right up here, so at the end of the meeting, I do have the special pens for that.
For the Mylar, yep. Great. That brings us to you,
Yes.
the
so-
Christine Flynn Show now.
Thank you. And I'll try to be very brief. The Citizen Planner Training Collaborative is March 21st. It's a great opportunity for members of regulatory boards to participate, for very experienced members to begin, new members of regulatory boards. It's a great introduction. They do various discussions on roles and responsibilities, how to write a decision, how to hold a public hearing, as well as topics that are new and current, across Massachusetts. It's also a wonderful opportunity not only for professional staff, but also for members to talk to their colleagues in towns across Massachusetts, big and small. I will also highlight that there is one particular discussion that I think members of this board would find particularly interesting on form-based codes. And our colleague from the town of Orleans, Elizabeth Jenkins, is doing a presentation on the work that the town of Orleans has done recently. So lots to discuss, lots of interesting topics, and members of the public are also allowed to attend as well. The second.
Can I, before you go on, I just want to, is anybody here interested in doing
I
that?
would
Because,
love to, but I had already signed up for something else.
yeah, I've been twice.
I know you.
I highly recommend it. It's
Emily's been.
one day, and there are like 30 things to do in the morning and 30 things to do in the afternoon. It's at Holy Cross.
Yeah.
You can only do like 3 or 4 of them.
Mhm.
And it was extremely worthwhile. I mean, it's
I
like,
definitely plan on going next year.
yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I would love to go this year. I can't do it, but, if you want, if you can, it's definitely worth it. And Elizabeth is great, so I would have gone just to hear that.
March
Likewise. And the 2026 Cape Coastal Conference, that's being hosted by Wacoit Bay Reserve, is happening on April 13th to the 14th in Hyannis. And so it's a great opportunity also. They'll have various discussions relative to coastal resiliency efforts across Cape Cod, in addition to having guest speakers come down and provide new, updated information on what the state is working on and supporting from a policy perspective, and also just other information and tools that municipalities can use to become more resilient in the face of climate change and sea level rise. And so 3 updates for upcoming planning board projects. The Witchmere redevelopment project was approved by the Cape Cod Commission. That project is currently still in their appeals period, which I believe will expire on March 16th. And I'm anticipating that they will, that the project application, they have filed with the planning board, but we will have to begin to post a public hearing after that. And so I will be in touch with the applicant's agent after the appeals process, and provided no appeals have been filed, to schedule upcoming meetings based on the materials, but also coordinating peer review as well.
Question?
Yes.
So when does the 90 days for us start?
So it's not the 90 days. We have, when a project is filed, we have 65 days to hold a public hearing. So I'm gonna get clarification from the Cape Cod Commission and Council, but I believe if there are no appeals filed with the Cape Cod Commission, the tolling at the town level begins. The number of days that are counted from when the local permitting process can begin.
So I'm just responding to your comment that they've already filed.
They have filed, but we didn't schedule a public hearing. We referred it to the Cape Cod
Okay.
Commission.
Okay, so that we're still in suspension mode.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. And apologies, I should have clarified that more clearly. And so the West Harwich Square project, that'll be, we can anticipate that project to be moving along. It's unclear when they will be filing, but I do want to have that project on the board's radar.
Great.
And we will have several, we have 2 more site plan review filings that are, we received one today, and we will receive another one shortly. So just an update relative to our docket of work.
So do you anticipate us having to do kind of decamp to the 204
Was it
auditorium for the Witchmere?
For the Witchmere, I believe so, but I do want to confer with administration on that, because the only limitation with the 204 was the in-person only option. There was no remote option, and at this stage, depending on the number of participants, and I anticipate a good number of participants, so I would recommend the 204 building.
Okay.
As opposed to the community center?
Yes, I felt that the 204, the setup and the sound was better for the audience members. But, you know, this can also be at the discretion of the board as well. I don't want to be making, you know, I'm happy to make the call. But
One's
if-
bigger
if-
than the other.
Yes.
Okay. Significantly. Okay. I was just thinking of the physical setup, having been to a Cape Cod commission at the community center, it worked
Mhm.
well, and I know we sometimes were a little glitchy.
Yes.
Okay, okay, at your discretion.
Well, that's something we'll deal with when we get there,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, and I will keep you posted relative to scheduling, and Matt and I are working on meeting minutes, so we will be providing
Right.
a set of meeting minutes, and we'll continue to work on that and to try to catch up to today, so.
Right.
um,
So quick question.
Yes.
Since these are being recorded,
mhm.
why don't we just run an AI minutes process and edit the, you know, the output? It's
So for
usually
some
re-
of the AI, I think it's very helpful, but on particular matters relative to votes and just certain
Right.
motions, we want to ensure that the process is accurate. So, but using an AI tool is an option. So I know some municipalities are looking to utilize that as a
Right.
tool more formally.
I just think it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's something we ought to consider just as a efficiency measure, because I think, you know, a number of the organizations I'm involved with, we do it now. Of course, you have to edit it for those very things. Who did the,
Yep,
who
yep.
did the motion, who did the second, what was the vote tally, or if you want to have a
But it's more immediate.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way you want to let that stuff go. But I think, you know, and you can have a copy of like the rough cut in, 4 minutes or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
It's, you know, a lot easier than,
Having anybody watch it again, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
so anyway, just for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Very good. So do we have any other new business or old business before the board? No?
No.
Anything from the public? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn.
We need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you all.